I was able to get more done today than what I had originally anticipated. For one thing, I found a strap. I'm going to have to go down to Harbor Freight and get some more. I'm going to get a couple sets of these. But I made a door to go on the side of the airframe here. This will allow me to enclose that area. I marked it on the inside, but it allows me to close off the area where the fuel tank is at. Later on down the road when you want to do maintenance, it's going to be fairly easy to get in there. Put that back on. Tomorrow I'll make a plate to go down here to finish that off and close that gap. The other side will just be covered with fabric. Now this aluminum is stuff that I salvaged from another aircraft I've been working on, and that got thrown in a scrap bin, and being the hoarder that I am, I went ahead and took it home. Decided that it would be better off to be at my house and for me to use than in somebody else's scrap bin. And then I put the fin on the tail piece, but I didn't like the way that it tied in down here with just a bracket, so I went ahead and made this piece of aluminum on both sides. I call that my large area gusset. And what it does, you can see rivets coming down here. Then it ties this whole thing in together, the whole frame, into this upper bracket here. And I got the plates mounted here in the aft end. You can see here where I've got plenty of room for the elevator actuator arms to go up and down. And as you can see, it's covered on both sides. So getting pretty close there. Things are really starting to come together pretty quick here. It'll be too much longer. It'll be ready to cover. Next step is I'm expecting the propeller bolts to come in any day now. They've been mailed. I'll get that propeller mounted. And tomorrow my plan is to go ahead and put my battery box in. I'm going to mount it up here in the front. It'll set right in here in between the rudder pedals. And get the battery mounted and put a plate in there and get ready to start the engine and do the initial engine run-ups. Here's my throttle linkage here, working pretty good. This is the engine primer pump here, just underneath the throttle. You'll be able to prime the engine from right there. And as you can see, the connections on the back side here. Now let's bring this camera around here. I don't know how well that's going to focus, but here's the two hoses, one coming in, the other one going out. And then I drilled into the gussets here and put some chicken track around there to prevent it from chafing, and then I'll probably put something in here to protect these lines and keep them isolated. And it just goes all the way back here to the back. Here's my throttle linkage once again in the rear, the back seat. Once I get all the mechanical work done and I've run the engine in and it's all broken in and ready to go, I'll start the covering. When I get through covering, we'll do a quick paint job and this bird will be ready to fly. Got my wings setting back there. I have to finish up, put rivets in, pull those clecos out and put the rivets in. And get the flaps mounted. Put in the flap indicator system will be a Bowden cable. It'll come along up here. And then I'll bring it down along this tube here. Right about here. And as that cable, as the flaps go up and down, that cable, the inside piece will travel up and down, and I'll calibrate that to match the amount of travel of the flaps. I also need to put in a cable tomorrow, which will be my elevator trim. and that will be the same kind. It'll be a Bowden cable that'll travel along the fuselage all the way back to the elevator. It's just be a simple mechanical actuated trim system. I've got the plate on up here the fabric will attach to. There will be fabric on this side coming down. And that's pretty much it. I do have to get the brake lines installed and the brake actuators, which will go in right down in here. I'll have a platform in here and the brake actuators will mount over here. Be a right and a left brake actuator. But that's about it. She's almost ready to wrap up and go flying.